Today, I'm thrilled to be joined by Soyun Park, an incredible media artist from Seoul, South Korea, currently joining us from The Hague in the Netherlands. I first met Soyun earlier this year when she asked me to participate in a live streaming audio-visual concert that she was organizing through her studio, RGBdog. This was a huge push for me to dig deeper into this kind of work, in large part because Soyun gathered such a great audience and community of interdisciplinary digital artists. Soyun creates new media and audiovisual works such as augmented reality installations, Instagram face filters for the Sony classical record label, and real-time audio reactive video for live performances, which is what she'll be telling us about today. I've seen Soyun give other tutorials, and my mind is always blown by the elegance of her patches, which create expressive and flexible results with fairly simple techniques. In Soyun's presentation today, she'll be using Touch Designer, which is a visual patch cord-based programming language, much like Max MSP, that is mainly focused on creating visuals. It's great for people who, like me, aren't hardcore programmers who want to create their own video software. So without further delay, I'd like to welcome Soyun Park to tell us how she creates audio reactive video works.
Hello, everyone. First, I will share my screen. I have a presentation that I prepared. Hi, thank you for tuning in. I'm Soyun, a multidisciplinary artist and a designer and the founder of a studio, RGBdog. I grew up in South Korea and I'm currently in The Hague, the Netherlands. First, I'd like to say I feel honored to be here, and thank you, Jake, for the invitation. I've never given a talk to the audience with a musical background, so it's been always for people who had been more interested in the visual aspect of the video production. So I'm very excited to share my knowledge with you, and I hope this to be helpful for visualizing your sound. I always think when musicians also have the visual language in that practice, it's so powerful and immersive, like to feel the sound as an audience myself. So if I introduce a little bit of myself, I work as a media artist and designer, and my work involves web and graphic design, also mostly video design for musical, stage production, theater, often in collaboration with musicians and other artists. RGBdog is a visual installation and interactive production studio that I started this April after the long years of my freelancing. So we've done web and AR, video production, so projects for cultural record labels, and the musicians also organized online events where making a bridge between audio, visuals, and technology. So I've been always a fan of so many musicians throughout my life, from like Rage Against the Machine and Radiohead and John Hopkins, James Blake, Nicholas Yar, and of course so many more. And making visuals as a big part of experiencing sound has been my dream since I saw actually Radiohead live. I had always passion for technology and creative coding, but I have a long practice background of graphic design and fine arts. So the way I approach Touch Designer is not as complicated or advanced as other amazing visual artists, but I compensated in a sneaky way to make it easy and effective for myself. These two videos were all done in Touch Designer, by the way. These are some of the short Touch Designer examples I made for sound. So the process of me learning Touch Designer starts from many online tutorials and pre-made image filters Touch Designer provides. From there, I understand the logic of this software more and more. This one is reacting audio. In this way, I'm still learning a lot every day. So also by trying things out from there, I discover something new and possible applications for making interesting images. So today I will introduce my process of video production using Touch Designer, how we can make that to react to the sound we have as well. And I will show you how it is used for larger productions such as theaters. First, I will show you a short video I made for the sound of the musician Bone Brook. These are main screenshots from the video. I'm showing this first because I'm pretty sure Zoom might mess up with the video compression. It's got a lot of pixel information, so I thought it would be wise to show you this first so you can imagine if it gets broken a bit. And this is the video itself. It's around 30 seconds. I will just play the whole thing. How was it?
That was incredible. Actually, it looks like somebody found the link, but in general, where can people find these videos?
This one is actually published in another place, which is SFX Space. So you can check it out on YouTube.
Okay, thanks.
And if you search, I think RGBdog, it's gonna pop up. I will stop share this screen because we're going to talk about Touch Designer now.
Excellent.
So this is all made in Touch Designer, and except the video itself. So I took a lot of videos beforehand and I put it into Touch Designer and then made it. Maybe I can show you what videos that I made first. So these are the videos that I took, these original videos. For example, like I think the most prominent one was this one. It's actually the poster of Radiohead.
Oh, wow. So are you moving to the rhythm of the song?
Yeah, so I played the music in the background and then I moved it to the sound. It's a very primitive way of making film.
But so powerful in the end result. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then maybe I can also show you other videos. So this one also. This was just like I was looking for scrap to just film, and then it was in my studio. Someone just threw this newspaper away, so I just took it. And like the method that I used in the Touch Designer to manipulate the video was called a pixel relocator. I will show you later. And because it's moving the pixels, it was very effective. Like this one's also.
That's incredible. The videos are so like familiar, but you know, the end result, it looked like, you know, an alien landscape from a sci-fi movie or something like that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's all just taken with my iPhone 7 camera.
Wow. I love that idea of also moving to the rhythm of the music that you're going to sync it up with. Is it difficult to do that kind of synchronization in Touch Designer?
If you connect like directly, make it audio reactive, it's not. But these things are like just videos. So I think it's better to just film it in the right timing beforehand. Otherwise, it'll be too much work. That's what I thought. So you can just imagine if it's gonna be working or not before going into Touch Designer. That's what I do as like a person who is more visually oriented than programmer. So I think that can save a lot of time. But if you have more knowledge on like making, this one was not included, but I just made a bunch of experiments to see how it looks in there. So if you are like very confident in programming, then maybe you can overcome the film itself. But I think it's easier to start with something that is matching to the sound in this case. Oh yeah, this one. Yeah, I didn't show you. Yeah, it's this one.
Oh, wow. Such great texture.
Yeah, it was just a packaging of somebody, so I just picked it up and then it was very shiny. So I was trying to put it in there, but it looked really nice eventually.
Right. Now I want to like run around my house and fill my couch and stuff like that.
This sounds like a fun idea. What is this one? Oh yeah, I think this one eventually I didn't use it either. It's really raw footages actually. So I think we can go to Touch Designer now.
Great.
I will show you how it's made and you will be very surprised because it's super, super easy. So I will open Touch Designer and then share that again. Actually, I got messages from people who don't have much experience of touch designers, so I would like to shortly introduce very basic UIs first, so you can understand what it is even if you start this one for the first time in your life. So at the very bottom, you see this is timeline. You can stop and you can play. And in Touch Designer, if you have a lot of operators, your computer might be having a hard time, so you can always just stop it, pause it, and you can pause it in a space key. And if you see the whole UI, you see this palette, which the Touch Designer provides. There are a lot of different ones that you can just play around with. What you can do is, like, if you find something interesting, you can bring it directly, just click and drag and drop, and then you see the operator here. So in Touch Designer, you call this one, this little thing, an operator. And this is your workspace. So you can just drag and drop. And then this is like node-based software. So you connect to another line, which makes sense with it to be connected to this line. And in the end, like you go probably further away. And then when you are about to export. So these ones are well, pretty easy to understand. You don't really use any of this. So you can just save and export. I will explain a little bit later. So in the layout, you can see pane layout. You can choose whether you want to have half or like in this way, because sometimes you want to type something here and then you see the result here, for example. So that becomes really useful when you have really complicated sketch.
So each of those windows are just a different view of the same overall screen though, right?
Yeah, so it's the same. But then if you have like different folders, for example, and sometimes you don't see inside the folder from here. So you press this button and here you can see the inside the folder and outside the folder and you see how it communicates. So you can see it all in one sketch.
So you can be in 2 or 3 places at once.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Great.
So operators, if you double click the workspace, and then you can see this pops up. Operator created dialog. So there are different types. So you see it in different colors: composition, top, chop, sub, matte, and that, and custom. No, this is not composition, it's components, actually. It's got all sort of components. For example, I use a lot of time container. Container it functions like I said folders. So if you put container and then you go inside, you double click, go inside, and then there is nothing because I didn't put anything. But if I put like, I don't know, another, like here, button, and then you scroll out, you see the button here. So container functions as folders, and if you have complicated sketch, you can just make a container, and then in the container, if you want to make the visuals to come outside, so you can connect it to the outside of container, you can just have out here, but maybe that's a bit advanced for now. And then I will go back to the explanation. So this components, you have different type of components. There are even buttons, and if you want to make UI, then you can also make UI from this, and table and slider. so on. And then top operators are the purples I use the most, actually, because I film a lot and I put it in, and top operators are texture operators. So they are simply 2D. And if you bring image or movie, for example, you can always make a composition. It's almost like Photoshop. There's different blending mode in composition, for example. And then cross, you can blend two other components together. And the difference is also the different blending mode. Displays, you displace two different images displays, and then feedback, you can make feedback, so on. So there are lots of interesting components here, and yeah, this is my main, I think. And then chop is like channel operators. It's got audio and animation and control signals. So for example, yeah, you want to make like a mathematical, or you want to make LFO, or like a specific audio signals connected to your top, for example, then you can also do it from chop. So now it's maybe not very clear, but I will show you later how you connect to the audio so you can see it. So chop is pretty much channels. It's gonna make numbers. That's what I understand, I think. And SOP is surface operators, is called. It's got 3D objects, so like box, and you can put the noise on the box. And if you grab some 3D object like OBJ, FBX, Touch Designer can read it straight away. So you can just drag and drop, and then it will read as SOP operator. And then material and shader. So material is when you want to have material on top of the 3D object. So you can have that with the matte. And then that is a data operator, text and scripts. If you want to use Python expressions, then you can use from dot. And you can just make all sort of program like mathematical calculations to like execute certain functions that you create in Touch Designer. Like for example, when you open Touch Designer, you execute this. You can always do it in dot. I'm still learning this one, and I think it's very, very useful when you are advanced user, so you want to really manipulate your workflow. And then that's it. So that was the main introduction for Touch Designer itself. Now I have a footage of lots of trees and the camera slowly moving. So I want to use that as an example because I am recently working with filmmaker called Douwe Dijkstra. He's in the Netherlands, and he showed me the video that he took, and then I tried to make it like a different layer of the video. So it's not just the video, but it's like manipulated Touch Designer video. So I will first drag and drop my video.
Someone in the chat, if you don't mind, is asking what is the name of the track. I'm not sure which one.
Which track are you talking about?
Maybe the video that you showed with the Radiohead poster.
Oh yeah, that one. That's the musician is called Bon Brook, and maybe I don't know how to share that right now.
How do you spell that name? I'll look it up.
It's a bone, like the bone, the body bone, and then Brook is like BROKK. Okay. So I just drag and drop a movie file. I think it's MP4. Close it here. So this is the top operator. It's a beautiful footage, by the way. It's not my footage. It's Douwe's footage, filmmaker, and I think he just took it in the forest. He didn't even have a stabilizer. He had his camera and just walked very slowly. It looked very stable. So this, I zoom in, and then you can see this button, display and viewer active. If you push display, then you can see in the full size. So you see what's going on. So for this tutorial, I want to show you how to use Pixel Relocator. That's what I used for the video that I showed you just now. And that's in just a palette. So I told you all that here. There are a lot of examples and the presets that you can use, and the pixel relocator is in image filters. So you go to pixel relocator and then drag and drop. So pixel relocator, what is this? So it's basically, it moves pixels vertical and horizontal. So you need two inputs. So the positions of the pixels moving are determined by the color channels selected horizontal source and the vertical source parameters. So if you have a different videos, then you can put different input in here, and then it repositions from the pixels from the first input. So like, for example, I have two, but then it's playing a different speed, so I think we can consider as different footage. So it repositions the pixels from the first input to the second input, determined by the second input top. So you see these two inputs, and then it's making crazy, beautiful thing already, actually.
Oh, wow. Soyun, sorry to interrupt. Can we see what the pixel relocator looks like without the second video input?
Oh, yeah. I think it's this
Wow.
one now, and I think it's got the second input itself as a preset. So if I go into here, you will see all how complicated this is. To be honest, I don't understand much. And I think the default input is this one. It's making it as, yeah, if you don't put the second input, that automatically reads this one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. That's really helpful.
No problem. So I was thinking, if I put the exactly same video in there, then we can just move the pixels from there. So like pixels of that video. So I just put like this. And then, by the way, P, the keyboard P is gonna show this parameter screen like this. P, I am clicking P. It's very handy because sometimes the monitor is too small and you don't want to have too much on your right side. So here you can you can see what's going on. You can change the parameters itself, and most important thing here is weight. So now the weight number, I will show you how it changes if I make it lower. So also this one is handy. If you click the number with the mouse middle button, and then you can choose this one, like to change numbers easily. So you see moving. It's X and Y, by the way. So weight here is X and this is Y. So if I move this, it changes the Y direction. So if you do, like, let's just leave the weight 0. And then maybe Y can be like 0.1. And you see it's got already a bit of texture on it. So what we can do right now is, I want to see this in a bigger screen. And also, like this part, it's like similar to Photoshop. This part, it means transparent. So I want to make sure that the background is there, because we moved the pixels, this part became transparent. So what we can do is putting a black background there. So double click, and then you go to constant. So you see already that the preset is white. Constant is like just the background. You can use constant for the background. So I press P, so you see the parameters. I want to make sure the color is black. And then if you go to common, then you can say the resolution should be 1920 by 1080. And then now we need to combine these two. So we can make another operator called composition. So it's a composite. And now it's X because I didn't compose with anything. So I wrote this one and this one. And then this operations, so it's like the blending mode. So what I did is multiply right now. So it's very dark. So what I want to do is the black go on the bottom and then the image goes on the top. So I go over. Then it looks like this.
Oh, wow.
Very easy, right?
It's beautiful, though. I like that the settings you used for the pixel relocator kind of retained the tunnel imagery.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, so you can't use the same parameter settings for every videos that you have. Every video, they all different. Like, for example, this one goes like a tunnel, like you said. So it's got this effect, but then the other videos, I think it'll look completely different. So you need to change the parameters depending on the video that you have. And now I just feel like maybe, yeah, let's see in the bigger screen. So there's a operator called null. It's like null is doing nothing, but it can conclude these nodes. So it can sort of like tidy up, like if you want to tidy something up, you just put null in the end. And then I'll see display in the background. It must be very broken, I think, in the Zoom. What do you think? Do you see it?
The motion is choppy, but it's very detailed. So I feel like I still kind of get the idea.
Cool, okay. And then you can just also tweak the FPS. Normally I go for 25, so you use 25. And then
Yeah,
you see
Zoom
on the
will be
top.
happier with that.
Sorry?
I said maybe Zoom will be happier with 25.
Yeah, I think so too. And if you look up here, FPS, you can see 25. And if you have a really heavy file, it might not show it real time. So then it shows it's not real time. When it's red, it means that it's not real time. And then you see the end and R end. So end is like the end of the frame. And R end is like the workspace that you are working. So for example, if you do 200, then you are looking from 1 to 200, but the end frame is 600.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What changes the timeline and the loop.
Yeah, exactly. And then if you want to export, it's already export time. You go export movie. There are multiple ways, but I prefer this way. I don't know, I just like this way more. If you go for export movie, do you also see the little screen?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Although I think wherever my face is on your screen is now covering part of it.
Oh, okay. So maybe I'll put you in the bottom.
Great, thanks.
Okay. So input. So I set up input, what I want to export. I want to export this scene. So I drag and drop to top.
Oh, wow.
It's super simple, but I think when you don't know the software that much, it also took me a really long time to figure just this out.
Yeah, every time I've tried to record a movie, I use, I guess it's the movie file out chop, and it takes me like 25 minutes to figure out where anything goes.
I know, right? I don't know what it is about this software. I love this software, but if you don't know, it's a bit sometimes difficult. So FPS, okay, of course, 25. And then codec. So my recommendation for codec is normally if you don't have really complicated image like this is a very complicated. I think there are lots of pixels to calculate. Then you can just do, I think, MPEG, or like if you have NVIDIA, you can use NVIDIA GPU as well. But if you have a lot of pixels to calculate like this, then you go to photo motion JPEG. It's a bit old way of rendering, but it's really heavy, but it's the best for this sort of occasion. And then you make sure that the format goes. This is like a color information, and if you click this one, like it's got more color information. two more color information. I don't know how like scientifically works, but that's it.
I read an article about that once, and it was dense. I don't really remember. I just remember like more numbers, better quality.
Yeah, that's what I remembered as well. This
Right.
is a better quality. I did multiple tests with the same video, and this got so much better quality actually.
What is the file format when you use this codec?
So this one, I think it will be Apple MOV.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be oh, but you can choose MP4. Oh, I actually didn't know. That's funny. And start frame and an end frame, you can just choose whatever. And if you want to start from the beginning of the video, then you go back to the video and look at parameter. Let's go parameter. And then while you just pause, let's just turn this off. While you paused, and then you go pause, and then it will reload the video. So you can start from the very beginning of the frame. And then you can just export movie and start. Yeah, you can write the file name and then start. So for now, I am not exporting any movie, but you can if you want.
Well, so Soyun, if you don't mind, can we just pause for a couple of questions? There's a few themes.
Sure.
Let's see. Okay, so one of the questions that a lot of people are asking is about the differences between the free version and the paid version. And we don't need to go into detail about that. Overall, like you're using the paid version, and people are just kind of wondering, like, is it a good idea to start with the free version, and is it powerful enough to learn the software?
Yeah, I will definitely recommend from free version, because the differences between free and paid is the resolution limit. So I think the free one is the resolution limit is like 1240 by 720 or something.
Okay.
So if you want to make a big project, which you will do eventually if you play around, then you want to like put it in the big place, or like you want to export in HD, then you will need the commercial version of it. So I think I am using an education version right now, and it's like $300 or something. It's quite reasonable price, I think, and I've been using quite a lot for a lot of different projects. I mean, it's a very artistic project, not like big giant projects. Then I will rather buy the professional, where the professional is, I think, like 800 or something. So eventually I will get there. But yeah.
Great. So it's mostly just a resolution. So you can really learn the software and just work below
Yeah,
HD
definitely.
quality.
Yeah.
Great. Another question, people are asking where you learned Touch Designer. And actually there's a lot of recommendations in the chat. So folks, beginner folks like myself, poke through the chat. But Soyun, where did you learn about Touch Designer?
I think it was on Instagram. I saw one Instagram post that looked so cool, and then I found out it's actually my friend made it. My friend did the sound, and then the other person did the visuals with Touch Designer, and then I got to know Touch Designer itself. So, and then I looked up and then started following all these tutorials, and then just did myself. It took me really long time, and also there was this like little meetup group at my school, and it's people who would like to learn touch design, that they just come over and we go through what we know. And there was this guy who was instructing us, and we were just discussing all the time. Like maybe we did like 4 sessions of it, and then COVID happened, and then we couldn't continue. But that also helped a lot, like talking with people and what do they know, and like that's why I really emphasize always the importance of community. And Touch Designer has a really good community on Facebook page, so you can always join and ask people. They are always helpful.
Great. Thank you. Yeah. That's such a great idea to do like a little learning study group or something like that.
Yeah.
But that's also really interesting to learn. You've mostly learned it from like free tutorials and things like that, just stuff on YouTube and Instagram.
Yeah.
Great.
But it also frustrated me a lot at the beginning. I was like, why doesn't it work? And because there was the documentation of Touch Designer is not very user-friendly. So it's very hard to understand sometimes. I think the easiest way is following the tutorials of someone else, and then on the way you will learn how the logic works and how to make yours with it.
Right. So you sort of like start by imitating someone's project and then make your own version of it later.
Exactly, yeah.
Great, cool, thank you. Another question, and then I think we can hop back into the audio reactive part of it. Somebody is asking, do you mostly use the native Touch Designer components, or do you do any GLSL Python programming?
So I don't do GLSL at all, but I sometimes do Python for executing some things that I want to export. Like, for example, because it's filmmaking, most of the time I need exact frame, like when like frame 10 this should happen, and when frame something and this should happen. So in this case it's very hard to like click at 10 frames myself, so it's better to write the Python code to just execute in the right timing. So that's what I use for it. But I'm also learning a lot. It hasn't been easy, but I think it needs just a bit of patience.
Great, thank you so much. Okay, so the next question is, I would love to know what visuals are baked in and what aspects are reacting live. So that's a perfect transition back into the next thing you were going to talk about.
Cool. So should we just go back to?
Yes, let's do it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So back in the Touch Designer. So looking at this, I'm thinking you can think what you can make this audio reactive to. So you just look at the weight. You know that if it moves like this, it might look cool. That's what I thought at the beginning. Like, what if, like, when the music comes like dun 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 dun, it moves like this.
Wow.
Dun, 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 dun. So you can just check it out with the parameters. You can just, if you use another parameters, not the pixel relocator ones. So this looks already cool. So I want to make it audio reactive. So I am going to bring my sound file.
Soyun, I think you'll be happy to hear that there are Touch Designer meetup groups being formed in the chat as you demonstrate this.
Oh,
so cool.
Yeah, that would be super cool. I would love to meet up in person, like every one of you, but it's a bit sad that it can't be, but it'll be great if we can meet all. Yeah, so I just dropped this file, and it's just like the song I like, Debussy. We are not hearing anything, so what we can do is go to chop and then do audio device out, so you can hear the audio. And then connect. Yeah, now you hear it, right? Okay. So first I will select one channel from there, because we have two channels. So what we can do is go to select from chop, and then I will select just, I don't know, channel 1. You can say just channel names and you can read it here, channel 1, channel 1, and then enter, and then done, you can just select the channel 1.
So select just filters out a specific part of the, okay, great, thanks.
Yeah, so you're getting like a stereo, that you can just choose 1 to mono. Okay, and then you can just filter out. I think filtering is very important, and as a visual artist, I still need to understand how that works, but normally, like, I will show you audio filter, and then I'm going to connect this. And then now you see all these options. So filter low pass. So low pass means that it filters the pass over the low pass. So if you want to make sure you are cutting from the low frequency, then you choose low pass. That's what I understood. And for example, if you want to use the bass of the music, then it's better to use a low pass. Or if you want to use like voice, high voice, then high pass will be the answer. And then I already did like low pass. slightly different. And then I will go to analyze. So analyze is, you see it in this numbers. And then normally I choose RMS power. It's really professional sound parts that I don't really understand, but every time I choose RMS power, it works really nice. So it's a little tip. Do you know, Jake?
Yeah, if you would do something like an amplitude analysis, it would be the real time, like the shape of every part of the waveform. So it'll be really fast and detailed. And if you do an RMS analysis, it's kind of like the average loudness. So it's going to slow down and smooth out the waveform, basically.
Thank you very much. That was very helpful. Yeah, now we have these numbers. The numbers are so low at the moment that it's hard to manipulate. So what I'm gonna do is putting math component here, and then in the math component you can just make like you can map it. You can map the numbers. So from range 1 to 1 should be translated into some numbers, different numbers that you want to achieve. So in this case, I would like to do maybe a multi-add because the numbers are so low. I want to do like 10 times more. So now it's like visible number. And then the thing is, audio reactive visuals can be really jumpy if you just use only this audio signals. So you have to put lag. So like if you put lag, if you carefully the numbers, it's less jumpy than this one, like these bars.
What does lag do?
Sorry?
What does lag do?
So it makes it, I think, smooth out. So it just add lag on top of it. So it makes it like slower than it is, what it is.
Okay.
Yeah, so normally I put 2 lags. I think it gets really smooth out nicely if I put 2 lags. So now it's like much less jumpy than this one because you don't want to see the visuals jumping up and up and up and down. Yeah.
Right. That's a lifesaver. I've been, trying to smooth out audio to be useful, but that seems like the trick. It's always too all over the place.
Right? Yeah, it's very hard to make the parameters really connected. And then lastly, I want to do math again. So we can map out the numbers to the right amount. So we can go back to this pixel relocator, and then you see what kind of range will make sense to move around. Maybe like you see while you move, maybe something like this. But this one is like, it's a bit tricky. You have to test it again and again and find the best numbers. So for example, I see these numbers. Yeah, so it's always over 1, and then it goes sometimes 3, something like this maximum. So I want to make sure like, okay, so from 1 to some numbers should translate in pixel relocators in different numbers, because if I directly connect these numbers to pixel relocator, it'll be crazy. It'll go like too much. So I have to recalculate with math. So this one I will say from range 1, which is from this audio range 1 to 5, let's say, to range, like when we tested before, it was, I think, less than, if it was less than 1, it looked nice. So I will just say like 0.8. And then we tidy up with also null in the end. and then we can export these numbers back to the pixel relocator. What we can do to do that, you click this viewer active.
Soyun, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No worries.
1 second before you make the connection, we have a question in the Q&A. Do you mind just kind of summarizing this chain of math and all of the chops that you're using to smooth out the audio?
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Okay, so I put this audio file first, right? And then I selected from one of them, so it's a channel. So if you have a stereo, like multiple channels, you can choose one channel to connect to the audio reactive visuals. And then I filtered it out because all the sounds it's too much information. You want to get rid of some parts. This one is, yeah. So this one is a piano song, but for example, if you have like a rock song or something, you will have a lot of information. So you will want to filter some parts out. In that case, if normally you can use like bass to connect, then you can put filter low pass, which means that you're gonna use only the lower part of the frequency. And if you have a higher frequency that you want to use, then you can put high pass, and then it's like a filter cutoff. So less than 4 will be used for analyze to the next one, which, well, we're gonna do, which Jake explained better than me, RMS power. So it can like smooth out. That's what it does, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It'll calculate the average loudness over a little bit of time. So rather than having moment to moment peaks, you'll have sort of a average loudness over the course of little longer bits of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. So I think most of the sound you can use RMS power, but I think maybe if you want to use like really powerful, like you want to use peak of it, then you can choose different options. And then I went to math because the numbers I see from analyze is so low. It was so low, like 0.1 something, and it was very hard to realize for myself what kind of numbers that I can use. So I just multiplied 10 times, so I can see like, yeah. So 1.6 now, and then I put lag there because now it's very jumpy. The lag is like delay on it, so it's less jumpy, and then another one, so even less jumpy. So that's very smooth in the end. And then in the very end, I put math again. So I analyze this sound, what numbers are like, what is the range of this sound? So I see from range to 1 to 5, I think maximum would be the 5. Then if you look at the numbers, now maybe it doesn't go too far, but this part you can test it out over and over by connecting it and see how it looks in the visual itself. So now we will see how it will look in the visual. So I put null in the end to tidy up the whole thing, and then viewer active, and click the viewer active. It means that you copied these parameters. It's going to be exported every time it changes. So we're gonna go back to pixel relocator, and then you can use for only y-axis for now. I want to just use for y. So I right-click and then go paste export. So now you're gonna see magic.
Perfect.
Now it's very quiet, so it doesn't move that much. So I think from here you can have like minor changes. For example, I want to maybe, this is a bit dark, I guess. So I would say if you right click and you go to level in the top operator, and then you can just make the brightness a little bit lighter. So it looks a bit nicer, I think. can see if it doesn't move that much, maybe change the range of it again, because the range maybe it didn't reach 5, so I would say 3, then it's gonna move a little bit faster. A bit dramatic now. So it's like constant changes of the range to what you like. So that was the trick.
Can we do a couple of questions?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, someone is asking if you can use audio streamed from another program rather than using a pre-recorded audio file.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Oh, I didn't explain that part. Yeah. So you can use different sound sources. You can use even microphone from your computer.
Mm-hmm.
You can, if you have audio interface, you can lively get the audio signal and then put it in Touch Designer. Actually, I'm going to show you soon how it is used in the theater, because the exact method has been used for like audio reactive visuals on the theater. I will show you later. Is there any other questions?
Yeah, I think this is a great question. Which other features of an audio file or an audio signal can you use to manipulate the video? So far we're using kind of the amplitude, but what other audio parameters can be used to manipulate video?
So far, I've done only this way.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't really know. You mean that the frequency that I used to filter it out, and I think that's the main way of doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you have the sound file ready, it's also easier if you already divide like the track, like the channels, if you want to use specific channels. But the other way, I actually don't know. Yeah.
Great. I guess one idea I had was if you're doing it live from Ableton or something like that, you can send MIDI over. So
yeah, right. Yeah.
So you can have different streams of triggers from MIDI or something like that.
Definitely, yeah. Oh, forgot that part. Oh, thank you.
Cool. I think it'd be great to see some of the footage of this being used live before we get to all the questions.
Yeah, let's do that. So I will show you how they were used for one of the projects that I was working on. It's called Plant, and it's a theater piece which is going to be premiered this September in all around the Netherlands. So you can have a sneak peek of it. I'm helping a Dutch filmmaker, Douwe Dijkstra, who is doing visuals for the stage. So I am doing like a touch designer part for his video to be like more alive than just the film itself. So I will show you. This was at the rehearsal, and we are still developing the piece, but you can see the microphone is coming to my computer through audio interface, and then when she talks and moves, it's exactly the same example that I showed. She's gonna speak soon.
Ik zou graag hier gewoon staan. Dat we niet nog tijdens die pro ook nog moeten lopen.
Oké, maar je moet niet per se lopen. Nee. Het hoeft niet, technisch hoeft het niet meer om daar te staan.
Ja, maar dan is het is wel voorop.
Ja.
It's almost like the trees are talking or something.
That's incredible. I mean, it's funny to. It's just the same thing you did now, but when you see it massive like that, it's so powerful and immersive.
I know, yeah, it's so cool. And okay, I will show you this one. So in the rehearsal, that part got used really subtly, so you don't see it in the video that much. So I will show you the other one, which is not audio reactive, but with the same footage. beautiful, right? Yeah. The videos were also beautiful.
Yeah, that was really interesting because was it different kind of semi-transparent screens layered with the pianist and the vocalist?
I think, yeah, this way, like on the stage, how it's made, it's a bit interesting. So we had the video already exported from Touch Designer, and then he, because Deborah is more familiar with After Effects, Adobe products, so he put it at a full screen on After Effects, and then he made this black part of the pianist. So it's just masking with the black part and on top of the pianist.
Wait, so the
depending
pianist was in the video?
Sorry?
The pianist was part of the video?
No.
Oh, I understand. You're saying
Yeah.
the black part just cuts a hole.
Yeah. Well, wasn't that a question? Sorry.
Yes. Well, I mean, it's just really interesting because you kind of lose track of which elements are real and which elements are part of the video.
Yeah, right.
That's a great way to integrate them.
Yeah. And then I will show you a little bit more. So the workflow between Dawo and the filmmaker and I was, he already made like a beautiful footage itself. Like, for example, this one. You see it, right?
Yes.
Something like this. This is made with films and just After Effects. He made it already. Really beautiful footage. And then I brought that to Touch Designer, and this happened. So this one, I used different calculations for the math, the number parameters part. So it's not constantly the same movement, but it's moving like here and there. That part you can do it with mathematical chops. It's a bit hard to understand, but it's like just LFO, like the numbers moving from the beginning to the end. It's going up and down, so it goes like up and down.
Is this the same pixel relocator
yeah
algorithm? Cool.
It's the same method, and if you look here also, it's beautiful. And I also put like time machine and feedback a little bit, so it leaves the traces a bit.
Wow. It's fantastic to see the same technique make such different results.
Yeah, so the original footages are very important, of course. Mm-hmm. For example, this one, he filmed it already in his studio himself. And then he just gave it to me because he didn't want to use it just itself. He needed a bit of texture on top of it. So what I did was exactly the same with the Touch Designer. Yeah.
Wow. It's almost unrecognizable that it was smoke, but it still moves in the same way.
Yeah, definitely. So lastly, I want to show you a collaboration that I did with an Icelandic composer. It is also not released yet. It's going to be released next week. So we are participating at the music festival called Dag in de Branding. It's like the experimental music festival in The Hague, which is going to be online streamed next Wednesday. And this song is called Mothers, and my friend Soleil, she composed it, and we will see. I will first show you the final version a little bit, and then I will show you how I made it, which is also really simple. Not the whole thing because it's 8 minutes. So here the background is also pixel relocated. She sings here now.
And fathers descend from my ancestors through me.
I want to show you all, but I'll show you like a little snippets because I can't actually. Here also, you see.
My child, I'll teach you what my mother taught me. What my ancestors have taught me.
Also, very end around here. I guess it looks nice. So this is all Pixel Relocator, and I will show you how I did that. This is the original video that I found it on YouTube. I made a edit in Premiere, so it just has the parts that I need, because this piece is about generation and next generation and ancestor. So the first part of the music was about womb. So it had to like sort of represent the womb itself. So I found this footage on YouTube. It looks like this, and then this also.
Oh, wow.
But as you see, it's very low resolution, and I can't use it just itself because then it would be stealing someone's work.
It's a great footage, though. It's a great place to start.
Yeah, it is. And then what I did was to put in the pixel relocator, you have to have certain like resolution. This is a really low resolution. So I wanted to make sure that the pixels can be alive and move nicely. So I put it in After Effects. And using Particular, that's like After Effects plugin that you can just download it. If you are a student, it's free, but if you're not a student, it's a bit expensive. This is what Particular did. It created more particles on top of it, so it's got extra information now.
Can you say the name of the software that you used to make this version?
Yeah. It's called Particular, so it's a plugin for After Effects.
Okay.
And it's from the software from Cinema 4D, the same software company. It's called Maxon, I think. They just recently released this plugin for free for students. So yeah, you can just use it. So now it's got all of particle information. I rendered it out, and then I put it in Touch Designer. So now it's more subtle. I used the pixel relocator.
It's amazing how it kind of retains the essence of the original video without kind of stealing it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a new thing, but it just sort of feels the same.
Yeah, so people often ask me what to do with these footages. Like the best thing is you can make it yourself, but it's also like the image of womb is hard to represent. So I thought it is the best to just to get somewhere and then make it on my own. So now you can't even see if it's from the same footage at all. And then it worked out great in the actual space with the projector. And I made a UI in Touch Designer so I can change the scene completely when I need to, because sometimes I needed this sort of image as well, depending on what sound she makes. So Lively, I changed the scene from this one to this one so it blends in. So that was it. Thank you so much for everyone to be here.
Thank you, Soyun. That was incredible. I'm inspired. I'm going to fire up Touch Designer in a couple of minutes. We have a ton of questions, but I just don't think we have time. So
Yeah, I think I overdid it, right?
no, this was so much awesome information. So I think you did it perfectly. And it was all explained really well. So thank you so much, Soyun. Looking forward to working with these ideas soon. And thanks to everyone else for coming. This was a great one. So I will see you all soon.
Thank you so much, everyone. Have a good one today.
Bye.